deal. A big company marches onto your land, sinks a well without your permission, then proceeds to threaten your livelihood. And it does it all with the consent and approval of the government. Now, this would be bad enough if it was happening halfway across the world in some tin pot dictatorship. But this is happening in our backyard, and it's our laws and our politicians who are letting it happen.
Mate, you're under arrest. This is a citizen's arrest.
Out in Queensland's Central West, it's war.
You've been dumping toxic waste all up that road. I've been filming you.
Hey, get in. Get your facts right.
A war that's pitting angry locals against the big gas companies.
Pretty high. I don't even like being here, mate. I think we should get out of here, man. Sure. That's a lot of gas coming out of there, man.
Properties are being taken over.
No, the levels are high, man. Let's go. Can you smell it? I can smell it. Come on, let's get out of here.
And now their water supplies are spewing out gas.
That is gas. That's outrageous, really, isn't it?
It is. It's insane.
Gas is Australia's new gold. And just like the gold rush era of the 1850s, nearly every backyard in Queensland's Western Downs is being plundered by 21st century prospectors. 60 of these, huh?
60 of these.
It's a worst case scenario, I hope. I hope.
Trouble is, for local landowners like Kate and Scott Lloyd, it's happening under their feet whether they like it or not.
You had people coming here saying that they would potentially move your house if there was gas under it.
Did they actually say that?
They did.
The Lloyds run beef cattle on 8,000 acres just outside the town of Chinchilla, and their property, like so many others in the district, sits on rich deposits of coal and gas. Imagine this. You've found your own slice of heaven, a few acres in the country where you've set up home. It's tranquil, it's peaceful, and you're living the dream. Then one day, the gas company calls, and it's not to read the meter. They've come to tell you, not ask you, tell you they're going to build this. A gas well right in your own backyard. And the law says there's nothing you can do to stop them.
There's no, oh, we won't drill in this area. It's an exclusion zone. It's just that if there's gas there, you know, it's ours sort of thing, and we'll take it. Yeah.
What do you say when you hear that?
Oh, it's just the relationship from there on just went pear-shaped, and yeah, it was pretty awful. Yeah.
Is that the point also when you realise you've lost control of your own property?
That's exactly right. Yeah.
In Australia, most land, irrespective of who owns it, is subject to being mined if it sits on valuable resources. And here, it's coal seam gas, found in the deep veins of coal meters beneath the ground. It's in vast tracts of Queensland and all over Australia. Coal seam gas wells are already being drilled in Western Australia and New South Wales.
We see it as a very important industry for future job creation and wealth creation here in Queensland.
Gas companies have signed contracts worth up to $100 billion to supply gas to a number of countries for the next 20 years. And according to Queensland's Mines Minister Stephen Robertson, it's an industry that has a long life.
It's an industry that, just in terms of royalties that will come to government, worth around about $850 million. But I think more importantly, if all of the projects go ahead, we're looking at around about 18,000 new jobs.
So it's worth money and it's worth jobs. But for how long?
Well, as long as the resource lasts, and the predictions are that Queensland's coal resources have a horizon of at least 200 years.
To date, gas companies are planning to drill 30 to 40,000 wells in this area, and about $1,500 a well is paid in compensation. But it is an invasion few landowners are prepared for.
We are going to be a prisoner in our own home.
They're going to rip it out of the ground as fast as they can. They're going to sell it to China and India and so on as cheap as they can, and they're going to leave your area an industrial wasteland.
At a town meeting we called, local residents were angry.
you better wake up and smell the roses, because all we're smelling at the moment is bloody gas.
I feel it's the most one-sided legislation I've ever been associated with in 27 years of practice.
Peter Shannon is the bush lawyer every town should have, passionately fighting what he sees as a serious injustice.
If you haven't been associated with mining or the gas industry generally, you live in a dream world of thinking that your land is your castle.
Most of the landholders that you're dealing with, did they ever think that this would happen to them?
I don't think there's been the remotest conception of the reality that is now facing them. And it's incredibly destabilising to them, because they have built generations, they've built lifestyles, they've had plans for their futures and their kids' futures.
Without doubt, these are lucrative deals for the Queensland government. But coal seam gas mining has been blamed for shocking health and environmental impacts.
I'm 54 and she's 59. She's changed so much.
In Rifle, Colorado, Steve believes his wife Chris has gone from being a healthy, vibrant woman to this because of the pollutants caused by gas mining.
I was afraid she was going to bleed to death. She'd wake up in the morning and she would be covered in blood, and her nose would be bleeding just like crazy, and the pillow was covered with blood.
Critics claim illnesses, including cancers and neurological disorders, are a result of the gas extraction process. In what's called fracking, a concoction of chemicals and sand are hydraulically rammed into the well to fracture the coal seam and release the gas. The chemicals used are a closely guarded secret by mining industry officials. Do you know what's put down into those wells? Do you know what chemicals are used?
Not totally, no.
Shouldn't you? Shouldn't you know what chemicals they hydraulically ram down those wells?
Well, what I'm assured about is that the processes that they employ are appropriate processes for the extraction of that coal seam gas.
And America has seen more fallout. Household taps suddenly gushing gas as well as water.
Whoa, Jesus Christ.
And backyard gas wells exploding.
We heard this pop, and then our son called. He said that the well was on fire. It was blowing right that way. And then the fire trucks came, but they waited way down because there was nothing they could do.
There we go, that's your high reading.
All of which makes the Queensland locals nervous about the same well springing up here.
That's an example of a very dangerous gas well.
And they're concerned enough to be carrying out their own inspections.
Okay, highest reading again.
Since these videos were shot, the gas companies have been forced to retest and repair wells that have been leaking.
No, that'll do for today. I've seen enough, mate. I do not want to be around this well at all. I don't want to start a vehicle near it, mate.
And here at a water bore on a farm near Chinchilla, something very strange is happening.
Now, obviously, we're getting substantial amounts of gas. And,
Is that gas that's making that?
That's the gurgling noise. That's the gurgling noise you're hearing. So
local Dane Pratsky says since mining began nearby, the bore is spewing more gas than water.
Are you ready for this?
And just to prove it, when you light it, it does this.
When you look at that, you realise that something is seriously wrong.
Well, you can't deny it.
The question is, what's caused that to happen? You can go on balance of probability, and it seems to me that it's not a natural event.
You can hear it. It's got that angry, I'm going to blow any minute sound.
Yeah.
Gavin Mudd is a hydrogeologist from Monash University. He warns that coal seam gas mining has the potential to impact Australia's huge reserves of underground water.
A lot of the communities around here are dependent on groundwater, and the coal seams are very close to where people are pumping groundwater from.
What is the worst case scenario as far as you're concerned?
The worst case scenario, I think, to be frank, is really the long-term impacts on the Great Artesian Basin.
Doesn't that mining fracture the water table?
That's one of the allegations that is made.
Is that not true?
Well, no. That's one of the allegations that is made. That is why we've put in place the Independent Queensland Water Commission to oversee that.
But is it not true?
Sorry?
Are you saying it's not true?
Well, there is...
Or are you saying you don't know?
No, there is a body of opinion that says that once the water is extracted out of the coal seam, that causes water to be released from the Artesian Basin. There is another body of opinion that says that is not the case.
See, these are vital things to know before any of this should be taking place, and you don't know.
No, what we've got in place is a very vigorous monitoring regime.
When gas wells are drilled, thousands of megalitres of water are released, along with tons of salt, none of which can go back into the soil.
We look into history. We stuffed up the Murray-Darling Basin from over allocation. It's costing us hundreds of millions of dollars now to fix. We don't want the same thing to happen to the gas industry. I don't want my kids having to pay the bill for the stuff-ups that happen today.
The gas companies declined to attend our town meeting.
We have enormous wealth of asset right beneath our feet.
It was left to local Mayor Ray Brown to face a sometimes angry crowd.
Why don't the government come clean? This is very poisonous, dangerous thing you're doing to the farmers' water.
Look, even as late as today, I've been assured in the fracking process they use in Australia a biodegradable presence. Now, they don't frack a lot.
But they frack.
They do frack, from what I understand.
It is disposal of toxic water that ran into my dam.
This is the biggest single issue that we've seen in this country ever.
We're concerned about the future of this area. We won't have an area in 20 or 30 years once this mining's come and taken what it wants.
But protest as they might, the mining companies have all the power. And as Kate Woodhouse found out, even what looks like a win has ended in a loss.
I was quite surprised. I honestly thought that I owned this land, and obviously I own a lot less of it than I realised.
Kate runs a wildlife sanctuary on 15 acres near the Western Downs tiny town of Tara. She resisted moves to put a well on her property. So the gas company simply built one across the road. How far is this from your home?
Less than 200 metres.
That's pretty close.
It certainly is, especially when it's going to have a pumping station set up next to it, and who knows what we'll get there.
Ah, so there's more to come.
Oh, yes.
For most of us, our home is our castle. But with a resources boom now driving the Australian economy, it's to be remembered what we own is only skin deep.
It's bigger than Scott and I and this property. There's potential there to have a devastating impact on our whole region. And
it's gone beyond your fence.
It has gone beyond our fence, and it's frightening.